With patch 8 on the horizon, I thought this would be a good time to take a trip down memory lane and go over all the previous patches in Baldur's Gate 3 to show if patch 8 is the largest patch yet. Because we got ourselves a lot of updates coming with patch 8, but some of the previous patches were pretty meaty and some people haven't been around for them, so I want to break that all down. Now patch 7 is really hard to compete with because patch 7 added in mods. That is difficult to compete with because that adds gigabytes upon gigabytes of information that you can download into your game. So obviously that's going to be very high up on this list. However, patch 8 actually brings so much good stuff to the game, including crossplay, photo mode, and 12 new subclasses. But going way back to patch 1, we actually got ourselves quite a few rapid fire patches and then not a lot for a little while after that. So back we got patch 1 August 25th 2023, and then a few days later patch 2 went live on September 3rd, and then September 22nd we got patch 3. Patch 4 was live November 2nd, 2023, and then November 30th, we got ourselves patch 5. Patch 6 came February 16th, 2024, and then skip forward quite a bit of time, patch 7 came September 5th, 2024. So there was actually a large gap between 6 and 7, and obviously with mods being added to console, the patch 8 did come to console a bit later, October 4th, so it was a little bit later, but obviously there's a lot involved with getting mods to work properly in a game as large and complex as Baldur's Gate 3. And now patch 8 looms over the horizon, and we'll get into all of that. But going all the way back to patch 1, this added a lot of little things to the game, but also it did balance a lot of things. It came with 1,000 bug fixes. There's actually multiple patches that did that many bug fixes. With a game as large as Baldur's Gate 3, it's bound to have some issues here and there, especially as you go through the acts and all the interchanging possibilities, like you recruit Astarion in Act 1 or you don't, and then there's dialogue that changes all the way down. So obviously with things like that, there's bugs that are bound to happen, balancing and flow issues. So this was for Short King Summer. So short races now got kisses, and yeah, there's a lot of updates that added kisses because I know that is something that a lot of people really wanted in Baldur's Gate 3. But yeah, this patch was just mostly for bug fixes right after the game's launch. I've been playing since this, and I didn't notice personally that patch prior to patch 1 there was much bugs or glitches or anything, or I guess prior to patch 2 even as well. But there was a lot of fixes. So in the meantime, you played over 200,000 hours of Baldur's Gate 3 since launch. It's over 22,000 years. I would be scared to see that number now because, yeah, there's some people in my Discord server that have been in that game quite a bit, and myself included. But yeah, for the highlights from patch 1, the Emperor, it was basically like just overall stability, bugs, and things like that. So yeah, there wasn't anything super crazy here. What I found funny was the Helmet of Arcane Acuity, which is one of my favorite items in the game. So it previously would cause you to stack up infinite stacks, which one of my favorite builds, which is the Bard level 10 with 2 levels of Paladin, uses the Helmet of Arcane Acuity because you can shoot an arrow of many targets, stack up a ton of Arcane Acuity stacks, which gives you better spell save DC so that you can land your spells much more frequently. So that was one of the big things there. It didn't crash your game anymore. But for the most part, it was just stopping the game from crashing. Like there's an extensive list of things that got fixed here. But yeah, not really worth going through all of that because patch 2 actually brought a lot more to us. So I guess with this update, it gave us a few different things related to romance and also Wither's Wardrobe of Wayward Friends. You can now dismiss co-op party members from your campaign. Performance optimizations across the board, and this is fairly common because Act 3 has a lot going on, especially on some PCs that may not have great graphics cards, or even on console. It did stutter quite a bit, when it launched. So it also reduced the saves size for save files, which is nice too. So it actually brought a lot for Karlach as well, and that's why we see her right up here. This is awesome that they responded so quickly after launch and they released all these great updates. So this gave us the endings. There's a few other patches that brought upon a lot of endings, but this gave us the endings where, spoiler alert, Karlach travels Avernus, and the Blade of Avernus, you may know him as the Blade of Frontiers, also can choose to go to the Hells with her, or you can decide to go with them, go alone with Karlach, or let them go themselves. It also added new moments for companions and Avatar Karlach to reflect on the state of her engine between acts. So this update was really about Karlach, and the reason for this is because Karlach was one of the last companions added into the game. Actually, if you see the early access Karlach, she looks like the least developed of them all, whereas Astarion was pretty well defined and similar to what he looks like now. Gale also had some great changes too, but Karlach was a late addition to the game. That's why whenever you look at the screen here, she's not included on the desktop or on the splash image for Baldur's Gate 3. So yeah, this added a lot of great things for her, and just a bunch of overall fixes as well, because again, this is right after the game launched. But moving on to patch 3, this is a big one because it adds one of my favorite things with the magic mirror, because in every single video of mine, my dirge or tav always looks different. So that's something that's accomplished because of the magic mirror. Previously, you had to use mods to be able to do that. There are still mods that actually work pretty well for that, but the magic mirror is great because it just allows you to fully customize your character. Maybe you want to add different body art or different hairstyles as you go through the game. You can all do that with the magic mirror. So I love that personally because I'm all about character customization, especially with all the mods that are being added. This was perfect. So that was one of the big things that came with patch 3, which came out again in September, so relatively soon after launch. And it was also now getting full support on Mac. Now, I have a MacBook. I have it on my Mac. I don't love to play it on Mac, but it's playable. So for those that game exclusively on Mac, that's huge because this is a great game, and being able to get that on Mac is massive. So with the PC release in August, saves made in the previous version of Baldur's Gate 3 on Mac will not be compatible with the full release. To prepare your Mac for the full release and minimize compatibility, we recommend you fully uninstall. So yeah, it runs pretty good on a Mac, I'll be honest. I don't play it, again, typically on my MacBook, but it's there. The magic mirror being the big one for me just because of all the customization I like to do. So yeah. There's also a bunch of other highlights here. So bug fixes. Cazador actually got a lot of fixes over time because we're going to see him pop up multiple times here. But yeah, a lot of the Act 3 stuff ended up getting buffed up. And Divine Smite damage increasing over the cap of 5d8. So you can upcast Divine Smite. Again, I mentioned 10 levels of Bard and 2 levels of Paladin is one of my favorite builds. That way you can get higher level spell slots all the way up to level 6. But they cap the Divine Smite, which kind of makes sense because it got pretty overpowered. But yeah, they had a lot of fixes across the board. Sneak attack not increasing at level 11. And the colors in the PS5 controller will now match the element. That's a little thing that I love about playing it on PS5 is that whenever you choose spells, it matches the color on your controller. Just little things like that makes Baldur's Gate 3 one of the best games of all time. However, this was mostly just bug fixes in the magic mirror. So this isn't the biggest patch. Patch 8 is still stomping this. Patch 4, however, this came out in November, so a couple months later. This comes in with another 1,000 fixes and tweaks and changes. This update, there's an accessibility tab to switch between different colors for colorblind here, as you can see. So for those that are colorblind, this is perfect because this will just help out with being able to distinguish colors on the screen a little bit better. It also added some nice things for players that play on Steam Deck. I know I actually have quite a few people that watch my videos that play on Steam Deck. I personally play on my Rogue Ally somewhat often. Similar to a Steam Deck, I just love that experience being able to just handhold, play with the game. It's awesome. So this added AMD Fidelity, I'm not gonna pronounce that, an updated version of their graphics processing. So you'll see an increase in image quality and overall performance. So that was really nice. And then there's some other changes overall. Customize hirelings appearances whenever you bring them out. So prior to this, you'd have to take them to the magic mirror. Now you can just, whenever you're selecting your hireling, you can make them look how you want, which is perfect. And yeah, a bunch of other, again, fixes. Like Scratch got a lot of fixes, being able to fetch things for you. Other class fixes, things, just basic changes to the game. Again, there's 1,000 in this one. More Cazador stuff. So yeah, that was patch 4. But getting into patch 5, this is when things started to get heated up. This is our most feature-filled update yet. We prepared a special community update to really do it justice. Deep dive into patch 8 or patch 5 here. So some of the highlights were the epilogue. This was my favorite update. This came out in November, so actually relatively soon after launch. I already beat the game by this point, which was awesome because I was able to reload my previous save, go into the game, and see the epilogue, which was, I'll be honest, very epic. As a player that didn't know that romance was really a thing in Baldur's Gate 3, I played the game blind at launch, and I'm a hopeless romantic. I did not do well with the companions. And yeah, Jaheira made my character a Harper, which I thought was awesome. So the patch added that whole epilogue camp, which, you got Withers there telling you to go talk with everybody. And I think it was a really great addition to the game. It adds another 30 minutes of content, but it was a nice way to wrap things up. There's some cool endings too, I guess a little bit of spoiler, but if you choose a romance Gale, and you marry Gale, you can actually go there as husband and wife, which is pretty interesting, or husband I guess as well. So that was a cool update, being able to see what happened after you beat the Netherbrain and what the companions are up to. It also added some hilarious dialogue for Shadowheart, and if you play as an Origin Gith, you get to it's pretty funny. I'll just put that way. But it also added an honor mode and custom mode, which is huge because, as you know, honor mode was so much new stuff in it. Every boss gets new legendary actions. They've even added more legendary actions in patch 7. So this is one of the craziest updates of all time because this added quite a bit. Added dynamic resolutions for PlayStation 5, performance updates for Act 3, which again, as I said, was a bit buggy for some people and laggy. I also had issues with the Poltergeist house. It always crashed my PC. Since then, I upgraded my PC, and it's a little bit better, but also with these changes, it made it better. Also available in Korean. While at camp, you can now access the inventories of companions who are not in your active party. Added a brand new fight if they betray the night song, and Orin's outfits now available as loot, which I know some people are most excited for that. But the big ones obviously being honor mode and the custom mode and the epilogue. I love the epilogue. I'll be fully honest with you guys. It is such a cool addition to the game. So for those of you that are watching that have not beat the game yet, go beat the game, please. For your own good, you will enjoy it. So yeah, that was patch 5. It added quite a bit of new stuff. But looking forward into patch 6. So into patch 6, we got ourselves a bunch more changes. I don't think it's as big as patch 5, but 2 days after Valentine's Day, so this is roughly this time last year, that flowers have started to wilt, the chocolate's gone on sale, and patch 6 for Baldur's Gate 3 launches today. Quality of life improvements, fixes, and a little bit of romance. Love is in the air, folks. So this added new kisses. Watch out for the garlic breath. We made improvements to locking lips with your chosen romantic partner. All characters now have unique kisses that reflect their personality with an emphasis on the plural. The kisses are randomized and vary from incredibly romantic to a little more intense. Kisses has also been improved for shorter and taller body types to embrace without delay. So that's really nice. Forehead kiss for tender moments when there's a little bit of food stuck to your eyebrow. In addition to the smooches, we've also improved some of our endgame cinematics to better reflect the connection between the companions. So I believe this is where Astarion didn't kind of freak out and no one really reacted. But also this gave new camp idle animation. So whenever you're cruising around camp, you'll see your companions just, you know, chilling, doing their thing here. Minsk will now, at this point, will shave his head. They also added some more on patch 7, so Minsk now will do some Tai Chi with Boo. Minsk will play the drums here. They added a lot of them for each of the companions, so just little things like this. As someone that's, you guys watch my videos, you know I'm in my camp quite a bit. So being able to see them be a little bit more realistic. All of them kind of read books. That's pretty common, except Halston, he doesn't know how to read at this point. But yeah, it was nice little changes there. So improvement and fixes galore as well on patch 6. So it doesn't all be insane canoodling. We added a bunch of player reported issues, so Shield Bash fans rejoice. If you're playing on honor mode, accept a few more surprises in the form of new legendary actions for bosses. Maybe a bit of extra trouble from a certain mound. Good luck with that one. So yeah, this added some more difficulty to patch, or I guess to the honor mode that was introduced in patch 5. Patch 7 also did the same. So yeah, this was a really big update. You can now dismiss recruiter companions from your camp. When dialogue triggers automatically, the game will try to prioritize your character as the main speaker. Your partner will now have a few different kisses. Improved dynamic scenes in the Elf Song Tavern to feel more intimate whenever you're with your romantic partner. Decide your future together after defeating the Netherbrain, which this is the camp. I get actually a lot of questions. People think this is a mod. This is actually a camp that's in Act 3. You do have to purchase it. I do have a video on my channel on how to get that. It's pretty straightforward. You just go there, buy it, and you can pass a check to be able to get this for free. It's lovely. I can't do without the Elf Song Tavern now. I just love the ambience and vibe here. So yeah, this added some extra stuff there and many other fixes. So yeah, this is cool. And also Shadowheart will now read you a line based on your relation with her if you sit on her stool in the camp. But patch 7, folks, this one came out September 5th. This added so much to the game. So yeah, it did come out a little bit later on PC or on console and Mac, but hey gang, are you ready to embrace evil? This actually added 13 new endings to the game. So we already had quite a few endings, but this added many evil ones. And yeah, there's a lot else going on with this, because you can see here's one of the evil endings. But the big thing is you got yourself mods. And if you're a streamer who's very demure and very mindful, you can use the show cinematic nudity. So, I mean, that's an option you got in there. But Lae'zel can get herself a dragon. Yeah, there's a lot of changes here, and you can actually now add the Alfira the Bard as a camp member temporarily, but there are some mods that allow you to do it long term. Honor mode got a bunch of new legendary actions, so every boss now has pretty much something that's going to annoy the ever-living crap out of you. Now it's perfect. New way to mod Baldur's Gate 3 with the in-game mod manager. This was huge. As you guys know, if you watch my videos, I love mods, and they've done a fantastic job with this. So yeah, this is probably the biggest one. They added the toolkit as well, which allows you to make your own mods. I've attempted some, and hopefully if I get some more time on my schedule, I'd like to be able to finish some of my mods and release those for you guys. But yeah, this actually added in so much to the game. It's hard to compete. Now, this is kind of the debate. Is patch 8 the biggest patch, or is patch 7? Because this is literally, I did a video where I talked through every single change that came with patch 7, and it took me 51 minutes to read through it, and I was reading fast, guys. So patch 7 is quite hefty. Mods do make this complicated of a comparison, because mods, and they add endless amounts of replayability, customization, you name it, to the game. With patch 8, however, which is not released yet, but this is going to be adding crossplay, so you can now play with your PS5 friends if you're on PC and Xbox, Mac. So really amazing. Love this. There's already cross saves, which I do use, because it's nice to be able to take one game from PC, throw it over to your Xbox or PlayStation, in my case PS5. Yeah, so crossplay is huge. Subclasses, 12 subclasses. I think that this is the craziest thing I've ever seen a company ever do. This adds literally like 30% more classes to the game. There's 48 and getting 12 new ones. My math's off on that, but that's amazing. I have never seen a developer do this much for a game that's already selling like hotcakes. They already added mods. They did not need to do this. Larian, you guys are amazing for this. So yeah, there is now going to be 12 new subclasses, one for each, and these all come with a bunch of different VFX, new animations, and a whole lot of other stuff. So this is really, really just mind-blowingly huge. There's also going to be photo mode, which once we get through the massive changes there, is really cool, because this actually allows you to make your characters dance. It allows you to do some funky pictures. This is awesome. As someone that loves pictures and screenshots from video games, I even have a Discord server where I have a section where you can share gaming screenshots, just because I love seeing things for Baldur's Gate 3. So photo mode is really going to enhance that, and I cannot wait to see it. You can do a lot with the photo mode. You can add frames, you can process it, you can put stickers on it. So much. This funny little will emoji I can't get over. But yeah, that's patch 8. Now, it's really up to you. Do you think that the patch 7 was bigger than patch 8? It all comes down to if you like to use mods or not. So personally, I think that patch 8 is the biggest patch that offers new content to the game. If you exclude mods, we're just going to say that's something separate. Patch 7 did add mods to the game, but it also just added the different endings to the game. So I think that patch 8 is the biggest patch that we've got. All the other patches added lots of great things, with multiple of them offering 1,000+ bug fixes, which is really nice to see a game developer put this much attention to making sure everything is perfect. So yeah, I personally think patch 8 is their biggest patch yet. It's the last patch, unfortunately. I would love if Larian was like, oh, by the way, patch 9, patch 10, but you know, they got to move on to their next game, which I will be definitely buying at launch. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is patch 8 the biggest patch? I think so, but mods obviously complicate things, because then that's infinite amount of additions to the game, and we'll be seeing mods like 10 years from now. So we're in for a good ride here with Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button too if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video.